We are so excited to have you join us at the Takoradi Westin Serene Atlantic Hotel, where this year's edition of the 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬 Conference is being held. It's going to be a transformative experience. We'll have various speakers who will be sharing on various topics to ensure that we bridge the gap from policy to practice and creating a workplace where everyone feels heard, valued, and supported. See you at the conference hall.
So today we had a really interesting session. It started with me giving a keynote address on well-being and making a strong case for well-being as a requirement to create a workplace that's empathetic, that's supportive, that allows for employees to truly give up their best every single day they come to work.
And it says that for every $1 spent on mental health, companies see a $2 to $4 return in improved productivity and reduced absenteeism.
I did also present the financial benefits of taking employee well-being seriously.
I'm Felicia Opoku-Foliche, Head of HR and Admin for Taka Ghana. I'm very happy to be here at this year's 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐢 conference, which is focusing on embedding mental health and well-being into HR practice.
And it's really helped because as line managers, we see our employees a lot, what they go through on a daily basis. There should be, just as you have like first aid, if someone gets a cut or a bruise in the workplace, if you have a mental health first aider or you're a supervisor, you are a trained mental health first aider, you can learn to recognize some of the signs and symptoms of mental health issues that is going on with your employees and appropriately intervene.
I think we've done the talk for a very long time. It's time to move into action and, incorporate a lot of well-being activities into our workplace. Oftentimes, it's very difficult to convince leadership, but we need to move beyond thinking about the cost and think of the benefits that having well-being in the workplace will do for the organization. So thank you very much.
So my name is Kwame, I work with Talo Oil. Today has been an exciting day for me. We've been treating a very important topic to me, employee well-being.
And think about it, health, productivity, and economic growth, and that's why you can separate.
And today I've spoken a lot about the importance of doing it, the benefit to the organization. And in fact, well-being is not just the right thing to do, it's a smart business decision. And employee organizations who focus on employee well-being outperform others who do not. And there were a lot of examples that I show. Now, hopefully for some of you who are not able to join us today, can go to the 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐻 social media pages to access some of the snippets of the conversation. It's an ongoing conversation, and as HR leaders, we need to take on this charge, challenge the status quo within organization, and push the cause forward. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon to all our viewers. Good evening to you, depending on where you are. Good morning to you, again, depending on where you are. We want to thank you so much for joining today's conversation. Today is Father's Day. And on this special occasion, or this special day, while we celebrate the vital role that fathers and male.
Resource Management Intern. Once again, welcome and thank you for coming. I wish you all the best.
Hello.
𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨, the CEO of 𝐷 Consult, organizers of the 𝐷 HR Conference 2025 in Takoradi. I'd like to especially thank all participants for making it to the conference. You made the investment of time, you made the investment of money, and you made this conference a success. We are grateful to you. Many thanks to our speakers, our keynote speaker, and all the speakers. We appreciate you for coming, for sharing your experiences and your strategies with the participants. To our sponsors, thank you so much. Without you, we couldn't have done this. Thank you, Apex Health. Thank you, 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐸 Insurance Brokers. Thank you, all our partners, the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Okante Studios. Thank you very much, Rivia. Thank you, My Health Corp. Thank you, SHRM. Thank you, SHRP. Thank you, HR Network Africa. Thank you, all our media partners. We are grateful for coming on board. I invite everyone. This is going to be an annual conference. So we'll come again next year to Takoradi, the oil city, and we expect.
Hello, good afternoon, team. We apologize for the delay. There were some few hitches here and there. We want to welcome you so much today for joining our conversation. Today is Father's Day, and on this special occasion, while we celebrate the vital role fathers and male caregivers play in our lives and communities, it's also an opportunity and a moment to reflect on what balance really means in the workplace for everyone, including men. Again, for years, conversations around gender equity have rightly focused on supporting women in traditionally male-dominated spaces. But a truly balanced workplace is one where every gender feels safe, heard, and supported. And so today we are turning our lens slightly to ask, what does balance look like for our male colleagues? What silent pressures do they carry, and how can HR be more intentional about supporting their mental health, um, caregiving roles, and emotional well-being? So let's explore together. On this call with me, I have Solomon. Solomon is the Solomon 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 and welcome to our show today.
Thanks very much for having me. Hello, 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good, yes.
Excellent. All right, so we have a few questions to go through today, while we also celebrate our fathers today. Solomon, just before we start, kindly do a quick intro of who Solomon is, and then we can begin from there. Sorry.
Okay, all right. 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨, thank you very much. I think maybe for those joining us first time today, they would need the introduction. But for our regulars, they can attest that I am not new to this platform. So my full name, Solomon Ahini Owusu, as 𝐀𝐝𝐻𝐻 rightly mentioned. And I am the head of Human Resource Corporate Affairs for Wilmar Africa Limited. We are the producers of Frytol edible oil, Jama soap, Jama detergent, Fortune margarine, Fortune rice, Alive soap as well. So these are basically what we do, and we are situated in Jama. That's where our factory is. So basically, that's the little I can say about me and then my company. Thank you.
Solomon, thank you very much, and happy Father's Day to you. I also want to use the opportunity
Thank
to say
you,
happy
and
Father's Day to
likewise.
thank you so much, all the fathers who are connected today, including all fathers that have joined us and supported Sedat's HR Digest throughout the journey. We couldn't have done it, without you. And so, Solomon, this evening, depending on where our viewers are connected from this morning, this afternoon, we want to begin the conversation on creating a balance, creating a strategic balance for male employees. And so we'll begin with our first question. When we talk about a balanced workplace, we often focus on women, because in the past, women have been marginalized. However, sometimes we tend to, lose focus on our men. And so, what does balance really mean for our male employees?
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, 𝐀𝐝𝐻𝐻. And just to share some few thoughts on this subject, I think when we talk of balance for male as employees, let's trace it back. You realize that for years, the conversation of work-life balance or workplace balance had been the championing of inequalities when it comes to women in the workplace, and then the barriers that they face as well. So much focus, or it has been very intentional when it comes to women and then the workplace balance that they need. But then I feel it is time that we concentrate on the men as well, because sometimes the men are left out in terms of that. It has its own societal connotations. So it makes men feel that this is how they should portray themselves or they should behave in order to be seen and looked at as people who are okay. But I feel that if we are truly aiming at a workplace balance or a balanced workplace, then we must be ready to know that men face unique pressures and that they need to be acknowledged for any intervention to be worked at for them. So when you talk about workplace balance for male, I'm looking at now how we are able to also build in the same line that we've done for women, for men to feel that indeed it comes a time that they need help. It comes to a time that they need intervention to make them work and be more productive and healthy.
Solomon, thank you so much for that. Viewers, and so like Solomon said, it's about time that we considered our men also, you know. So it's about time we considered our men also and to bring a balance at the workplace. All right. So our second question is that what are some of the common problems or pressures that male employees, you know, quietly face at work? Quietly, they don't talk about, but at least you have been in the space for so many years. You've worked with many, you know, many men, many people. So please share with us some of the common problems or pressures that male employees quietly face at the workplace.
Yeah. So you would again notice that culturally, men have been made to think that, for example, working for long hours shows success. So if a man is working more hours and not having rest, time for family, then society looks at it as, oh, this is a hardworking man. Oh, this man works hard. So that is one aspect that I think we need to look at. Um, we have to redefine success when it comes to men. And if we are able to redefine success, then we will notice that men go through a lot of pressures that if we are able to help assist, those will not be in the mix as we are looking at now. So, for example, you will realize that um, men always are under pressure to appear strong and be looked at as they are in control. You look at our society when things happen to you, and then a man and you start crying. What they'll tell you is that, oh, you are a woman. Even if you fall down, instead of you screaming for assistance and help, your own colleagues, even at school, your own colleagues will come and laugh at you to make you feel that when you fall down, you don't need to show. You need to still be strong and then move on. And then also the pressures are in the expectation of we being looked at as breadwinners in the family. I'm sure in the olden times when we were growing up, a lot of families, the men were seen as the breadwinners. So the women are in the house and taking care of kids and all. But you realize that the man has to, by all means, go and work and come. And even if it is not happening, you will be looked and be mocked in a society that we live in. So, some of the pressures that you've talked about, some of the challenges that men face are just these two. And then the last one is on the burnout from silent expectations. So people are expecting something from you. It can be family, if it can be colleagues, it can be peers, schoolmates, and you realize that, oh, these are people that I went to school with. These are their progress, or this has been their progress in terms of career, in terms of business, in terms of success. Then I must also force myself to become. And silently, you'll be doing more and there'll be burnout, but you wouldn't want to say because the moment you say it, it looks at a defeatist mindset that you have.
All right, Solomon, thank you so much. And that is really true, So men usually go through all of these challenges, but like he said, you must show up strong, or you must have that strong face. And so, even in the midst of all of these challenges that you may be going through, at the workplace, you see men go through that quietly, but within them, so much, may be happening. People have many expectations of men within our society. And so even when they cannot match up, for some of them who may not even be able to match up, they still have to, go through, all of the challenges and all of that and be quiet about it. And so it is so much. And it leads me to my third question. These things usually come with so much stress and mental health issues. If you can also enlighten us on how, stay strong and not talk about stress and all of that affects the mental health of male employees at the workplace.
Okay. So, again, universally, a man who works harder or who in of situations come up strong is seen as the go-to guy for everyone. So therefore, even when there are challenges with you, you wouldn't want to show them because you feel that would break you or make you feel inferior. So the go-to guy persona makes you become dependable, and then you don't complain, and you are always being looked as ready to deliver. So these pressures come upon you and then emotionally suppresses you. So you can see that people are suppressed when it comes to emotions, but they are still leading. So they lead, and then after they go and cry. They will tell you that as a soldier leading a battle, you do not need to show your emotions, because the moment you show your emotions, the people come after you, or your subjects would also feel same, and then will lose out in terms of the battle that you are facing. So I say that this is one of the charged when it comes to managing your stress as male person, and how to become also productive. You would also look at it that whilst that happens, the stress will not go away. It will definitely stay with you. I read a book that talks about sleep deprivation and its accumulation in the body. So therefore, if you think that, oh, I'm waking up to work hard and all, and I am not sleeping, all the sleeping hours that should have ordinarily happened, that has been proven scientifically, it stores in your system, and that causes stress on you, the person. So you realize that as you grow and not having that strength to be able to do the things of your youthful stages, or at the stages that you could work more hours and all, these emanate and then start bringing health issues, mental health issues, or even physical disorders to you, the person. So this is some of the things that we have to look at as men if we want to be more productive, if we want to make sure that our mental health is good, and we want to see our progress leading and taking care of ourselves, causing that balance that we want to see as an employee.
Thank you so much. So Solomon spoke about suppressed emotions. Sometimes these things can escalate into anxiety and depression, and it's one of the things that affects men at the workplace, because they have to stay strong and not talk about stress. He also spoke about burnout. because then they've taken on so much, no time to rest, and it shows on them. I also want to talk about higher absenteeism or even presenteeism. When they are burnout like this, they may be physically present, but emotionally and mentally, they have actually checked out. And so it leads to, unproductivity and all of that. So basically, when men can't talk about their stress, it doesn't disappear. It shows up in missed deadlines, in conflict and health issues, and all of that. And we need to highlight it so that we can all bring our minds to this conversation and begin to come up with interventions to help men. And so my fourth question is that how can HR create that safe space where male employees feel comfortable talking about their challenges? How can HR support or create that space where employees feel, especially male employees, they feel comfortable to talk about their challenges, because they are not supposed to be talking, they suppress their emotions and what have you and all of that. So how can we create that safe space for them to be able to comfortable to talk?
Okay. So, in terms of that, I would say that one, as HR people, we would have to start creating employee assistance program, which focuses on the male or our male employees. These can be in various forms. I know of companies who have actually psychologists that you can book appointment and speak with. There are also other male activities that you can do. So one, you need to create it in such a way that you normalize mental health in your leadership building. So have it as a conversation as part of building your male employees into leadership. Because if you realize, we are talking about balanced work and productivity.
Yeah.
So once the person is working more, they want to see an outcome which is positive. But when they go through all these processes, the outcome that we want to see, which should be positive, may end up costing us more in terms of business, in terms of financial, than the output that we were looking out for. So we must create an intention to have it as part of our leadership program, so that employees can be exposed to understand that they will need to discuss stress and then manage it. Again, we can also create situations where we have our mental support system or health support system. For example, in my company, my site nurses have been created in such a way. We develop, one actually has a background in psychology, and then is a therapist in terms of all these mental health issues. So employees book appointment with her, then have discussions. Initially, there were a bit of shyness because of also the stigma attached to go there, and then also even the belief that, will this be kept confidential if I go to her and speak? But I can tell you that a lot of people had gone, and some themselves had come out to me to tell me how they benefited from such programs, just going there to talk. At times it is family issue, at times it is work related issue, at times there are things that a colleague is even doing without a colleague noticing that this is impacting on another person. And when that situation or that forum or that avenue has been created where employees are able to speak or reach out for solutions or for assistance, they now come out and feel better. And then again, what we need to do is to create a peer network. I say that I had worked in one company where on Fridays, they made it very intentional. So Friday, we are closing the office by 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. and we all meet up to have fun. to sit, relax in a place, either drink, eat, and then we have chit chats. And we realized that because we had dominant expatriates in there, we realized that over time we became one family, and we bonded with them because the mindset of segregation, of we and them sort of, was broken by the fact that we all meet up on Friday and have fun or have time together. So we must be intentional in terms of this to create that peer network. It could be also amongst the various supervisory categories, that you create a situation for them to be able to meet each other and then talk. For example, we talked when you are hiring people, we create a buddy system that people have people that help them to assimilate in the organization. And we also create that situation where the person will have someone to go to and speak with, and that person can keep those confidential information and help change the mindset and mentality of the people. The last I will talk about is about we encouraging emotional intelligence. As business, we must help people to be emotionally intelligent, because out of some of these things, at times, the flip is that it can cause a serious mess in the business, accidents, fighting, like you earlier mentioned, delay in submitting or meeting deadlines. These are all things that we may not really look at, but when we are able to have that intention or be intentional about looking out for the mental health of men in making sure that they become productive, this would also be worked out, and eventually we will get the outcome that we look out for as a business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Solomon, that was very extensive. I'm sure our viewers have taken note of all of these interventions that we can put in place to support our men. You know, you spoke about what we do with recruitment by having a buddy system. And you mentioned that we can actually do something similar to help our men. And that is really key. You know, I also want to say that, you know, for as HR personnel or HR professionals, we can also host gender inclusive, you know, mental health workshops that focuses on both men and women's well-being. You know, those times, and when you spoke about having a nurse at your workplace where people can actually walk to and go through, you know, some sessions, it really resonated with me. Many times, people see mental wellness as the guy is mad or the woman is mad. So the moment you talk about mental wellness, people already feel, you know, that's not a place for me, you know, to even consider, because the moment I go and talk about it, it means something else. But it is not so. You know, when you talk about wellness or well-being, you are looking at a holistic the holistic health of a person, and it includes many other areas, you know, emotionally, financially, and all of that, environmental, all of those other areas. And so your mental wellness is one of such areas, and we need to all invest in how we can, you know, help ourselves in these areas. All right, let me take a moment to acknowledge our viewers today. And so I have Victor Kojo Atta on the call. He says hi and good evening. He says happy Father's Day to, or Victor, happy Father's Day to you as well. We have Michael Kisi on the call. Michael says, I'm watching from Kumasi. Michael, happy Father's Day to you. Victor says that I'm unable to see the persons. Sorry, Victor, we are having a technical challenge, so that's how come the video is not coming up today. We really apologize. We've been trying with the IT team, but it's still not coming up, and we apologize for that. Anita Ehun says that I'm joining from Accra. Anita, thank you so much for joining us and for joining the fathers to celebrate the Father's Day. Thank you very much. Grandma Chumesi says I'm from Accra. Grandma, thank you for joining and for joining the celebration of our fathers today. All right, so I will take just a moment to I will take a breather for a moment and then we'll come back. So the technical team, if you can take us through the breeder, the adverts that we have. Sedat has a few programs that are upcoming, and so let's take a breather. I'll be back shortly. All right. Thank you so much, team. I also want to take a moment to talk about the Sedat HR soiree. Last year, we had this program at the British Council Auditorium, and we are doing it again this year. It was really an exciting moment. We did not just, network, but we had opportunity to do many other things. It was very insightful. Um, we had so much fun, and so we are doing it again on the 1st of August. What a way to begin the month. We are doing it again this 1st August, and the venue is the same British Council Auditorium. It's just 200 Ghana cedis. You get opportunity to network with people or professionals in the HR space, CEOs, and what have you. We work throughout the whole year, so it's time to unwind. It's time to dance and simply have fun. So let's meet at this year's program outline is quite interesting. There will be music for your dancing feet. We have karaoke, spoken word. There will be games. It's going to be so much fun, So let's prepare ourselves and gather. It's really important. Networking has done much for me, than just being in my corner. And so it's important that we make time to be part of activities like this. So that HR Digest soiree is happening on 1st August from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the British Council. To make a date with us. Solomon, welcome back from the breeder. We have
Thank
a
you.
few more questions to take, and then we would call it a day. We are speaking about male employees, but there is another level These are men who are caregivers or manage a family. And so please enlighten us. How can we better support men who are also caregivers or trying to manage family life with work? Because that's another level.
Yeah. All right. So I think there's been an evolution where organizations looking to be seen as the best in terms of in terms of their performance. In terms of performance and all, would want to see how to better help their males as well. So, for example, a lot of multinationals had it now. It is transcending through a lot of even local organizations where they've created room for paternity leave for employees, male employees. My company has similar, where we believe that when women give birth, there is the need for bonding between the father and the child. So we give paternity leave for men to bond with their children. And again, in order to make them also feel proud that we also recognize their input, we've created an opportunity where when they come back, there are few work time hours that we give them to be able to support the family. So their work flexibility is really looked at and not as stringent as it used to be. So that is one way we have looked at it. And then also to create a lot of openness with men when it comes to what they really need us to help them with. So we know that there are pressure to perform. So when there are work notes that are given to male people or men, what we look out for that there is constant feedback, there is constant checks. We also try to create that HRBP system where employees go to our people. So where the HRBPs go to our people, instead of like the employee now having an issue to come, we've created it in such a way that the HRBPs will now go to employees either on the shop floor, either on their offices to find out if things are okay with them. Because at times, not everything will employee want to put on mail or make it formal. So we try to do that, pick it, and also through our surveys that we conduct, which are anonymous, we get information and basis that we are able to tailor trainings, tailor wellness programs, which would help change or alleviate those challenges in our male employees. So these are some of the things that we look out for to make sure that at least we create that balance for men to be able to deliver and also feel healthy mentally and then physically.
Absolutely. I think two of them that you mentioned that is quite familiar is the paternity leave support. And that is really key. It doesn't cost much. It's one key way that we can, support men, because some companies actually don't have it. And so when their wives give birth like that, the men are, struggling to, especially where they've taken all their leave and all of that, so they don't have enough leave days. They are thinking of how do I go about it. That alone in itself is stress. So if as HR partners we can be able to come up with policies like this, it could be some 5 days, it could be some 10 days, depending on what your business can actually accommodate. And then the second one you spoke about is the flexible working, hours, and that is also very key, because when the person has returned from even their paternity leave, um they are back to work, but their minds, I'm very much sure, will be at home to support what's happening at home. And so where there is flexible working policies to support them, as a business, we should be able to do. Solomon, thank you so much. It's been enlightening. I have one more question to ask, and we should be able to close for the day. But before that, let me acknowledge Zakaria Salamat. You have been a consistent participator. If you were a man, I would have wished you a very big Happy Father's Day. But thank you so much for joining us every now and then. Said you are watching from Kumasi. Good evening and Happy Father's Day to you, Mr. Solomon, and all the men in the group. Thank you so much. We receive it. All right, so Solomon, my final question to you is that if there is one thing HR teams should start doing today to support male staff better, what would it be?
Okay. So what we need to do is, first of all, to create the awareness that, hey, you are not a machine. And even with machine, we have what we call the maintenance period for the machine. The maintenance period is only making sure that you are resetting the machine, or you are putting in place systems to make the machine work better and efficient. So what I would say is that we should create that room for our male. Again, I think we will be able to do this when we are also driven by data. For example, we must have to be able to people are taking their leave. I can give you an example of a situation where an employee told me that he doesn't want to take leave because
we lost you when you were about to cite the example. So you said, for example.
The example, okay. Yes, I said for example, in one of my companies that I work in, the employee never wanted to take his leave because he says that when he takes his leave, the family will disturb him because his kids had vacated at a point in time. But we mentioned to him that, hey, it is for your health and it's an opportunity to even bond with the family. We gave him the leave. In fact, when he came back, he was requesting for more because he said there were things he didn't know about his kids, but that opportunity for them to be together created. So we must have data to look at the trend of leave management with our male employees so that we can ask people to take their leave and or when it is needed. Again, we must have data to give us insights in terms of health. What are the consistent health issues? Like I mentioned, my nurses on site send to me morbidity report every month in terms of cases that came to them. And most of these cases are high blood pressure, people's BP and all. And then we realize that it is all linked to stress. So we are able to create and opportunities for them to be able to relieve themselves of those stress. What I would say is that, to conclude, is that we should avoid the stereotype that all men are strong, all men must behave this way and all, and rather look at breaking men and their levels of effectiveness, their levels of ability, their strength, to make sure that whatever we want to develop for them is built or developed basis what we have seen driven by data, as I had earlier mentioned.
All right, Solomon, that was very clear. So Solomon is speaking to getting the data. I think with that insight, you'll be able to then provide tailored support programs to help our men. And so I would add that, for some men, rather than a face-to-face conversation, even to gather data, some may still not come. So what we can do is that we can as well run an anonymous employee pulse survey that is specifically asking men, employees or male employees, about their stress levels, their work-life balance, their caregiving responsibilities, and whether they feel comfortable discussing mental issues and all of that. At least it gives us some base to begin some tailored support programs for them. But it's also important that we provide the environment where they can freely come to us as HR professionals. They can freely come to us, so that when you get to know the issues with the individual, then you can also provide support. And sometimes they don't trust if the information can be kept confidential. Solomon spoke about it. So we need to also train the people who are receiving such information on how best they can keep them confidential, and be able to provide proper interventions rather than to spread the information across. The moment it becomes so, they lose trust in the system and will not be able to support them. So again, thank you so much, Solomon. If I had a female panel, I would have asked how the wives are also helping the men at home, especially today being Father's Day. Maybe Zacharias Salamat, since you have been continuous participator of our program, you may want to share your response, in the chat box, how our female or wives have also been helping. Because I know some men, when they close from work, they don't want to go home, because they simply don't want to add to their stress levels, because there's somebody at home that may be stressing them. So our women, you need to also support us. Many of you are doing excellently well, supporting the men in various aspects. If you have not been supporting your men, today is Father's Day. You can start from today. Do something to
Yeah.
support the men. They go through a lot. We've outlined a couple of them. Selma, you want to say
I think,
something? Please.
I just wanted to add this, that you see now, from the women's side, we will say that they are doing very well, and there is still room for them to be able to speak to their men that, hey, it is not all that deep. Because if you realize now, there are a lot of women who are in higher positions than men. There are a lot of
Yeah.
women who are now breadwinners. But
Absolutely.
a man's ego may make him still feel that, hey, I need to provide. I'm the caregiver, I'm the breadwinner. And therefore, regardless of you, the woman, leading in that way, I must still show some signs that I am the one in charge. So I think that is what our females would also have to help disabuse the minds of the male. That yes, now I can become a manager, and then you can be the caregiver or the housekeeper, and that it is possible, it will work. And all I earn more than you, but hey, you are the one leading the home, and it is okay. And not to just put so much stress on yourself that because my wife is doing this, then I seriously also need to become this. Because if you realize, it makes men to leave their jobs very often. So if you look
Yeah.
at retention in organization, you realize that a lot of male, and when you do serious exit interviews and discussions with them, and you do it informally for them to open up, you realize that a lot of them are linked to more financial gains because they would have to take care of the family. So that is
Yeah.
what I would expect the women to do, to also help the system when it comes to our men and their mental health, and also being balanced in terms of their work productivity. Thank you.
Solomon, that last statement you made, I would have to go back to, my figures and check the exits, men against the female, to because it's really an eye opener, and I want to do that work. I want to go and check because that is very
Yeah.
true. That is very true. All right, viewers, we have come to the end of our conversation. We want to thank Solomon 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨𝐧. Thank you so much for the insights you have shared with us today. We also want to
Always a
thank,
pleasure.
absolutely, thank you to Sedat for always bringing these sessions our way every week, week on week. Thank you so much. And to our cherished viewers for always participating, joining us in these sessions. It's really been an insightful session. I want to thank you so much. Once again, we want to remind you that if you have any HR need, do well to consult, Sedat Consult, because they are experts in the area and they can provide all that you require in the HR space. They can support you in training, in recruitment, in PMS, in various interventions that you may require. Sedat Consult is there to support you. All right, so until we meet again, it is bye-bye for now. Happy Father's Day once again to our fathers. God bless you and keep leading your home, by God's wisdom. Thank you so much, Solomon. Happy Father's Day
Thank
once
you.
again.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Father's Day to everyone. Thank you. Bye.